So you've obviously been listening to Nicole talk about multifamily. And actually, when we put out a passive cash flow for life, people had talked to us about maybe doing the same thing for single family and providing education there. So we got a bunch of different very, very successful residential investors and created the virtual REI Academy. And Jane and Sharon are the lead on that. They have had tremendous success. They're actually from the Baltimore area originally, and then decided to go where it's nice and warm, and we're all very jealous down in the South. And so they are going to be talking today about the latest virtual rehab they're doing. Is that right?
Yes, it sure is. Put a little PowerPoint together. If do I have capability of screen share?
You should. I think I left it for everybody. Yeah, you should be good. Let me find out from Ernest.
All right, we have one new message.
All right, so Ernest or Ernie gets into getting into multifamily investors as GP, LP. How are you finding those? Is your focus more on 30 units less? Do you want to do that? You want me to do it?
You do it.
All right, so a lot of the people that are just starting off, you have a couple of options, right? You can either use your own money if you have, a reasonable amount of it, or you can partner with people. And there's a couple of different options in terms of partnering with people. You can do a joint venture where everyone is involved in all of the decisions, and everyone brings in some level of value. So you may bring the value that, I found the deal, I underwrote it, I found the financing, I'm going to run it. And then, hey, Harry, you're going to help me, run it. And then you're also going to bring a lot of the money or whatever it is, as long as it's equitable and everything is open to negotiation. When you get into some of the larger properties, sometimes you will get into syndication, which it sounds like you already know about, talking about GPs and LPs. And then obviously that becomes a little bit more expensive. I mean, an average PPM, a package is probably going to cost you, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 grand, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. Which you have to have prior to closing. So it is an investment that you make. And if the deal doesn't close, then obviously you're kind of out of pocket unless the SEC attorney decides, hey, it's okay, we'll get it on the next one. And some will, a lot won't, but some will. In terms of finding GPs and LPs, it sounds like you want to be a GP. So, in terms of an LP, it's just networking. It's just talking to people. It's being out there and, coming to places like this, talking to or coming to the meetup that we have, in December, going to other multifamily meetups. No one is coming to your house to offer you money, right? They're all out there. So you have to go out there and kind of meet them, or out there on a forum and stuff like that. And that at some point, actually, Nicole and I were talking about this today, about how to really get somebody started, and in terms of creating something called a credibility pack that talks a little bit about who you are, what your goal is, what you're looking to achieve, what you're buying, what area it's in, and that kind of thing. And so that's kind of the goal, the starting place. But I've talked to people that started with 25,000, and I've talked to people that started with nothing, and I've talked to people that two guys that I talked to have $2 million. So I don't think it matters. You will need money. It just doesn't have to be your money. Nicole, any thoughts?
Nope, I think that's good. And we are eating into Jane and Sharon's time. So I think we need to sign off and hand it over to them. And I'm going to mute myself.
That's no problem. We all can learn and share from all the, especially with the money lending. It applies to both sides. So it's good content.
Yep. Nobody came to my house today offering money for a rehab or anything. Didn't have that happen. So, all right, guys. Today we're going to go a little bit over our rehab that we're doing, but again, this is brought to you by Virtual REI Academy, like James was saying. There's a bunch of classes on there. It's like 30 some instructors, 45 some classes, and it's just a whole wide range of things, all things real estate related to residential. We do have a YouTube channel, so this will be up next week too. So it'll a couple days. James usually gets it up there by Thursday, so it'll be up on the YouTube channel. You can catch the last ones if you didn't see those as well. We've been doing this since about February. Honored that we were asked to help out with the residential side from Nicole and James, and just trying to add value and do a little teaching as we go. Our main focus on most of our properties are we do things remotely and virtual, and that was more of a need for us as opposed to a want. But we had to do it moving from Maryland to Florida. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit. We've had part one maybe a month ago about how we acquired a property and some different stuff. So now this is actually the rehab of said property in Gary, Indiana, which is nowhere close to Sarasota, Florida. It's a lot colder than Sarasota, Florida. And so we'll get into a little bit of some of the problems we've already had and how we're combating those things.
And just a recap, it's 608 East Ridge Road in Gary. We acquired it for $43,100 all in, and putting $42,000 for the rehab. And the realtor that's going to sell it said she's confident with $150,000 value for this house, ARV. First, we're going to talk about where to get the money, where we were able to acquire the money. The first part, the house part, we were able to obtain the money through a retiree who's trying to just build extra money through a self-directed IRA account. This one, she's actually in Quest IRA, which is out of Houston. She had money that she was able to acquire that from one of her something that she funded came back early, so she was able to throw that into the house. But then we had to get some money lending for the actual rehab. We had another private money lender lined up for the rehab portion of it, but unfortunately that fell through. And then we thought we were just going to use our own money because we had money into another deal, but of course it didn't close on time, so that was a nix. So always have backup money lenders. So we reached out and acquired the help of a hard money lender. Hard money, you pay a little bit more for the money than you would a private money lender most times, but they were relatively reasonable. They have a stipulation where if we don't close and have it sold by 6 months, the price of the money goes up a little bit. But we were pretty confident because our contractor is really good, and they're going to have it done 6 to 8 weeks, and then it'll get on the market and sell relatively quickly. It's in a good area of Gary near the university, and it's a nice solid block house in a pretty nice neighborhood there. So we think we can lock it up and get it together quickly.
And just a little bit like the hard, there's all different kinds of money. So this particular hard money guy, like we're going to keep it out for a year, which typically, most people want it back a lot quickly. So we're going to pay a little bit more on interest, but we have it for a year, and that just helps us with an exit strategy should we need one. So say if like just crazy stuff happens and we can't sell it for that price that we need to sell it at. And there's plenty of spread, even if we sold it for 125. But if there's, just something crazy happens, we have that money for a year that would allow us to get it rehab, get it rented, and refi out into something to get him paid back, and then still have plenty of time because we keep that money for a year if we absolutely had to.
And we actually did negotiate. I mean, you can negotiate with your money lenders. Like they wanted either a certain percentage rate, or sometimes they want equity. Once, if it's a decent house like this with a good spread, they might ask for equity, and you could always negotiate that. Somebody that at one point wanted one of the houses that were similar to that, they wanted 30% equity, which was pretty steep. So we negotiated it down to like 15% equity. So you can always negotiate everything. And that's one thing we did learn through here at the very beginning when we were doing things. We didn't negotiate as much. And then we realized you can pretty much negotiate anything, and you get out there and just talk, and the contracts can be changed or revised.
And just another thing about private money, and just, make sure you have other people, because we know, most people that have self-directed IRAs and that kind of stuff, they always want their money working. So as soon as it comes in, it's going right back out. So, just another situation we ran into, it turned into a big probate thing. So we had money lined up, and then it actually cost them money waiting for the close. So we ended up just, kind of paying them a little something
For their
just
time.
because it was waiting so long, and the house still hasn't closed. So, because they want their money working, they don't want it sitting. So, even if you say, hey, on such and such a date, you still should have backup plan just in case another deal came in and their money's out.
Because that one was a crazy circumstance. We were trying to close it the end of June, and then the probate stuff happened, and
Here we are.
then we decided we did not want to go to closing during the hurricane season, so we were postponing it through there. Now they got busy through the holidays, so if we even acquire this house, it's probably not going to be till January, but which is fine. Then we'll have the snowbirds there and it'll sell. So it's this one's actually in Florida. And let's talk about this Ridge Road house in Gary, Indiana. This is the beginning stages of the rehab. This is the patchwork and walls. You went through and took care of the patchwork and walls, and we get videos. We talk to them, call them up, text message them, get videos and get photos, pictures. We do a shared link drive to make sure that, since we are so far away, keep everybody honest and keep lines of communication open. One thing that you do want to look at with contractors, you can see every step of the way, they always keep a clean workspace. You don't see a lot of stuff laying around. You don't see garbage and trash. It's nice, maintained and broom swept and cleaned after every day when they work. That's one sign that you have a really good contractor. And here's the doors and windows. The windows were mostly busted out, and they had
Boarded up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought they were boarded up. So they're knocking out the windows and the patchwork and the beginnings parts of the pulling out walls and getting rid of the junk. There was a lot of junk in there that they had to haul out. So they cleaned it up and made it nice. And then the flooring, they're pulling up the subfloors and the different flooring and putting nice floors in, getting it maintained and taken care of. It's a progression. It's working, and it's funny. Usually the beginning stages go pretty quick, and then the end stages, we notice, like the finishing work, that's what takes the longest. So that's what I get nervous once it's almost done, getting over the hump and getting all that finishing work done. This usually goes pretty quick. And the kitchen, he decided that the cabinets were in good shape, so he kept the cabinets and just painted them over, which he always uses like a contrast of black and white. That's his thing, and it really pops, and people like it in that area. So he'll usually do like a background or black countertop. I'm sorry, white countertops, white background with the black cabinetry, because it really stands out well. So they were in good shape. So he was able to keep that and bring some costs down. So depending on the area and, the neighborhood and all, then, it dictates what type of rehab. Plus, with a market rehab, you want it a little bit nicer, but these, he said that they were in good shape and he was able to keep them. So like I said, little things like that really do keep the cost down, like cost analysis. Yeah. Anything you want? And then the basement transformation, he's going to add a bedroom and a bathroom down here. So it's actually going to be 4-3 instead of 3-2. So it'll be nicer, and that'll increase the after repair value too. And it already had a little bit of structure in place, so we didn't have to do too much to create, the ceilings were pretty high, and it's as you can see, it's pretty large area down here. So it's plenty of room for them to be able to add that extra bedroom and bathroom in there. And usually the houses in Gary, they do have full-size basements, so when we do flip houses in Gary, we usually at least add one bedroom in the basement. It works out well as long as there's some sort of French drain or something down there to keep the water out, because unfortunately they do get a lot of water and flooding issues through the area. And talk about an issue that arose with this project. The first week and a half he was going to start, the whole area flooded out and nobody could do anything. Things kind of went in a standstill. The roads flooded out and everything. So he was trying to maintain and go and take care of emergency punch list items for the renters that are in place. So little things that, like the acts of God and
Mother
things
Nature.
that Mother Nature crops up and you have no control over. So that put us behind a little bit. And then other problems, there's always something, you always run into something. This house has been sitting vacant for how many years? 6 years? 6 years without any electricity or water or anything coming to it. And in Indiana, when the electric's not used for, what is it, 3 years or something?
It's not even that long. I think in Gary, just because of how things are, they pull out that meter box pretty quickly within, probably 6 months of sitting, maybe a year. I don't know what it is exactly, but we've run into this, a couple times where, and then you have to call them and then you have to go through a whole big thing, like put the box back. And typically they're pretty quick, but this is one of those problems. As luck would have it, they were way behind for various reasons. So, it took a little bit longer, like three weeks to get that in. So just getting, and you can't really start the electric, like you can, kind of start it the day you think you're going to close, but you really can't, get that ball rolling until you actually close, because we've had that happen too, where you change the electric over and, you plan on it being one day and then you never do buy the house because unforeseen circumstances. And then the electric's in your name for a house that you didn't have, and then getting it out of your name and all that stuff. So you just, it's like insurance is one thing. I like to have it insured, the minute the lines crossed and all that stuff. But it's just with electric, it's just, we start it. And then with the, water also, you want to have your contractor actually physically present in the house, because you don't want to turn the water on and either somebody left it running or there's some kind of leak, and then
Ask us how we know.
nobody's there. And ask us how we know when your floor is all flooded because nobody was there and you turned the water on thinking you were doing well by starting it early.
Rookie mistake we did at the beginning, but lessons learned. Never make the same mistake twice. That's what they say. So,
and then they also had to put in a gas line, and I think that was what took the most time. Again, that was typically they're very quick there. They know they have to do it, but they had to go ahead and do that. So we had to jump through the hoops. And then, holidays, now we're getting into holidays. So pretty much after Thanksgiving, government people are kind of in that, well, it's after Thanksgiving and it's almost Christmas and I don't want to work, or vacations happen and you have two people in the office and one person is on vacation, and that leaves all the work to the other person. So things just don't move as quickly in this time.
and plus, right before that was the seasons changing. So people, the heating problems and everything. So they got a lot of calls and different jobs that they had to take care of. Kind of put us on the back order. We thought it was going to be worse because but Javier told us that they were there yesterday.
Yep.
Yesterday, putting the electric box in, so that's good. Usually, sometimes he said it could take. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time from what they told us the deadline would be for them to.
And that could have been because we were extra nice to the lady on the phone.
Yes, that's another thing. You have to be nice and treat them with respect. That gives you. Because they get screamed at and yelled at so much by people. They want, people demand things yesterday, and then you blame the person on the phone that's just the call taker, and that can make you or break you. And plus with the was, oh, shoot, I lost my thought. Never mind.
Right. And then it's also too, like in this particular situation, they had to send paperwork, they had to email paperwork to us to fill out. So getting that paperwork filled out right away helped too, because I had talked to her on the phone, so very nice. You know, had a good conversation, asked about holidays and other stuff. And then, you know, right away getting that paperwork back in her hand within 10 minutes. She sent the email, we filled out the paperwork, sent it right back. So she still had that conversation fresh in her mind, and then, you know, got the stuff processed.
And then thanked her again for her time. So then we got in ahead of schedule, a couple weeks ahead of schedule. So kill them with kindness, it actually works. So far, these were the little minor problems we ran into with the money lending and then the gas line and the electric box meter. Hopefully things will run smooth from here on out, because he's got a couple more weeks to go. And the way we do the draws, we talk a little bit about the draws. This one, we split it up into 6 smaller draws of $5,465 each draw. Usually we typically do 3 draws, and then at the third draw, we hold back about 10% until all the punch list items are complete and everything. And we'll hold some back on this one, the last draw, once we get that one in, until we know that, you know, all the, you know, we can do the final walkthrough and all the items are complete and everything looks good and ready for market. And then we'll give them that last piece of draw. When you do, especially when you start out working with a contractor and you don't really know them and haven't built that relationship yet, don't pay up front unless it's strictly for materials. And I would even go as far as to say, purchase the materials and have them sent to the work site. Not, you know, don't give them the money to spend on the materials, because you want contractors who have been in the business for a while and have some jobs under their belt. Don't get the brand new ones that don't have any reserves or capital up front, that they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. They're using the money from the last draw from another project to fund your project. So that's one thing you got to look out for. And then space out paying them, pay them in draws, like, typically it is, there's the free draw system. And only pay for the work completed. Make sure before you give them a draw, you inspect their work and you know what that draw goes for. Make sure you have, that in writing, and you look at the scope of work and make sure that that amount of work is completed, that for the cost of the money that you're sending them for, until, so that this, when they get the work done, you pay for it. With the service people, like the electricians and the plumbers and that stuff, they want to get paid right away. As soon as they do their job, they want to get paid that day, roofers and all. So that's a little different. This is like when you pay the contractors.
And this one we split up into 6 draws, because this, if you remember from part 1, this was supposed to be a quick 6-week thing. So we just did the once a week draw at that amount, just to make it go quick. Obviously it's not the contractor's fault, the electric and water situation, but at the same time, he didn't do some of the work that, so, we've worked with him long enough. It's like, okay, what can you get done, and what can you get done with a generator, or what things can you get completed? So we have paid draws, but we still have enough held back for the rest of the work that needs to be completed now that, the gas line's in, electric's working, and everything's good to go. And then he should whip this out pretty quickly. And, this, I think, puts us 3 weeks behind.
It's, not his fault. When you do the scope of work, you do put in there, you let them tell you their time frame when they're going to have the job complete, but you can't hold it against them for things that are outside of, it's you can't hold them accountable for the weather and for, the electric and, situation and that sort of thing. It's only things that are in their control. And also when you do have a contractor, make sure you find out what times that they show up, like what, if they're going to show up Monday through Friday, 6 or 8 hours, make sure they're there, do spot checks on them, especially at the beginning when you're starting to, getting used to each other and you're using those contractors in the first couple of jobs until, you get to know and trust them. They get to trust you, keep everybody honest.
And because we're doing this one remotely, we obviously had some FaceTime and videos. The videos we could never get to work, so we didn't try. Maybe next time we'll actually figure out how that works, or send it to James and he can play the video
Send it to me.
somehow. But we do FaceTime, so it's not like we just take a couple pictures and take it for granted. We also have people in that area that can kind of stop by and do a spot check, or just even drive by and say, hey, nobody was at your house today. And if we didn't know that, then, that's a problem. Or, hey, I mean, typically what we get in Indiana is, hey, the guys were at your house on Saturday, or, hey, they were there on Sunday because Javi and his crew obviously work pretty hard. And so we can usually count on them being there extra as opposed to not at all, which we had happen a few times in Baltimore.
One good thing about being able to go to the work site and be present is you can show up and, make sure they're there and bring them food. They'll love that and they'll enjoy that. And then they'll get, they'll work harder for you and prioritize you. So when we are able to get to the work site, we always bring them like pizzas or subs or something. That does go really far. Like I said, and again, killing them with kindness, show compassion and show respect for people, and it goes a long way. And next time on our rehab number 3 is stage 3. Oh, I wrote stage 2. That should have been stage 3.
You're fired.
Other issues, if any other issues crop up that we have to navigate through, we'll talk about them and let you know how the hardships and how we got through them. Show you more pictures of more progress and showcase Javier's beautiful work and the systems and how they're working and, the plumbing, electric and all. And now that they turned everything on, make sure there's no underlying issues and that everything's in working order. 'Cause that's always scary when you first turn it on and they inspect everything, the high ticket items, the systems, the roof and all. You want to make sure that's working well, because then that's, more money that you have to add to the rehab. That's why you have to be really careful with your numbers. In Florida, they're still asking too much for houses and not much spread. And you got to think about things like this. There's always going to be that, the issues that are going to rise, and that's more money you got to put into the rehab. And like, I think probably every house, maybe a couple of them went smoothly, but pretty much every house we've done, there's always been some underlying problem that you didn't account for or that cropped up. I'm sure everybody else that's done rehabs can attest to that. That's why you always have to add to it, add like 10% to your rehab figure. You have anything else? Okay. And since we had to deal with difficulties, and overcoming difficult situations and people, show me someone who's done something worthwhile. I'll show you someone who has overcome adversity. And adversity is one of life's greatest teachers. And learn how to overcome things, and then don't make the same mistakes twice, and you'll go far. Learn from your mistakes and
Don't do them again.
Yeah, and learn from others' mistakes, like the academy, the instructors talking and telling you things, the reasons why they're telling you to do things the way that they have it structured is because they've done them the wrong way, learned from them, and now doing them the right way. So I don't like to always learn from my mistakes. I like to learn from others' mistakes so that I don't make them to begin with.
Because we make enough of our own.
And people that tell you that they don't lose money or make mistakes, they're not doing it. And this is brought to you by the Virtual REI Academy. And again, Jane and Sharon, and you can reach out to us either here or you can send us an email. There's our email.
And any questions?
And let me unshare so we can, whoops. Oh gosh, I hit the wrong button. Stop sharing. I'm sorry. My mouse is going crazy. Okay, I stopped sharing so that we can just ask questions. Do you have anything in the chat? Oh, was that a new question or is that one that I? Oh, James is on mute.
Have you implemented a system like Builder Trend? Co-construction for use for subs? They geo-track for time card and property location?
We have not. We actually have not done that. That's interesting. Thank you, Ernie. And thank you for showing up today, Ernie. That's great seeing you. He is a contractor and actually a realtor. I wish your mic was working. We can't hear you. I don't know if it's
Your headset
or something.
sign
Can you
language.
hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's Ernie's mic or headset or something.
Can Ernie hear us? You can hear us, Ernie? Yeah, he can hear us. It must be some micro headset or some weird setting he's on, but it's not letting him talk.
And just so you know, I have the hardest job of all with handling the rehabs. So pushing the button for the wire. It's pretty much what I do. She tells me it's right.
Darren has his hand up. Is this a new question?
Darren, do you have a question?
I'm sorry, guys. I guess my hand was still up from the last question. I didn't put it down. Sorry
your
about
arch trisaur.
Do you have another question?
that. No, I don't. I was just sitting here listening to you guys. I forgot it was up. Let me take it down.
Oh, that's
worries.
fine. That's fine. Anybody want to tell a story about like a horror story, something that they had to go through with a rehab or how you worked through it and share something?
I can tell you one from way back when. It was when I was first getting started, and it was a single family house, but at a distance, and it was in cold country. And I thought we had done enough of so in a lot of cold areas, you have oil furnaces, right?
Mhm.
So I guess you can pretty much guess what the rest of this story is going to be. So it was a buried oil tank, an older one that had been leaking for quite a while.
Oh,
So we had people out in white hazmat suits and digging up all that old dirt. That was a really expensive lesson. And so even to this day, I really think 3 or 4 times if there's oil heat in a house or a building, because that was really painful. And it was my own fault because it didn't look.
did you end up making a profit?
No,
Oh,
did
man.
not because it was really expensive with those little men in white suits.
Oh,
But did they zing you with environmental stuff?
Yeah, well, it didn't get any suits like that, but we did have the EPA kind of getting involved, at least the local kinds of folks of what had to be done. So it was that's got to be 20 years ago or so, but it was some of those lessons just resonate for a long time.
Early on, we had one of the tanks in the basement. And I think it was leaking or something, and they tried to zing us with the environmental stuff, but we had bought it from HUD. So I think we backtracked it or something. They ended up not getting, but it was a pain in the butt to get the tank out, and it was hard to find somebody to do it. And we hadn't necessarily accounted for that removal of the tank, so it wasn't super expensive, and we still made a profit, but it was an expensive lesson nonetheless.
that was funny. That was the same house where they tried to get us with something.
Yeah, right away, Baltimore City sent us a code violation saying we changed out all the windows without
Permitting.
without permitting or something, but then I had to go back and backtrack the pictures to when we actually bought the house, and HUD had actually changed the windows and
did not pull a permit.
did not pull a permit. So
So they had to take care of that and get the permits done and inspections, and they had to get the inspections and all for the tank. So thank goodness it was a HUD house, because that's one good thing about buying a house from the HUD home store is they have to take care of all the encumbrances. They have to take care of all the past fines and everything before they sell it to you. And if they sell it to you, if it goes down in the title work, they have to clear that out and straighten that out. There was another house in on the other coast that we were wholesaling, and well, we were double closing it, I should say. From HUD, you can't wholesale, you have to double close. They had like all kinds of these pool violations and pool liens. The screens were busted out, and the same thing. They had to clear that, and that was probably $15,000 that HUD had to kick in to clear out all those fees and fines, even after. No, it was right before we closed. It was right as we closed. So
that took like almost a year and a half.
That's one reason why we like purchasing houses from HUD, because they do all the winterization on the houses. They do a weekly inspection on them. They have a status report on them. They have to clear out all the violations and the title work and all that. So it's, you're getting the bank foreclosed houses, but it's still their little better quality than some of the other sites that we've bought from. Charlene, you have a question?
I wonder if it's the same for veterans auctions.
I've not bought from there.
Not bought from there.
Be interested. Does anybody else have any experience with that?
I did buy from the Veterans Administration. I haven't had any problems though.
Do they have to clear all the liens and all before they? The title
I didn't even ask about that. That was totally young and dumb phase of my life. Everything worked out okay though. I mean, the realtor handled all that stuff, so I don't know. I never heard of any liens that were on it. But that was
so the VA doesn't actually buy them. They are insurer. So the loan is actually going to be with some kind of a lending institution, and the VA sits as a kind of a backup in case something goes wrong. So they're actually insuring the loan. And I think now if something goes kaflooey and they have to foreclose, I think they actually are doing their selling through realtors. I don't know if they have an actual VA site anymore, but I haven't been there for a long time. So maybe more than I do, Charlene. Was this a while ago, or is this just recently?
It was 50,000 years ago, and I still live in the house. Sometimes God protects babies and
yeah. Fools and little children.
Right.
But I tell you, you're saying that you felt like it was a mistake, but at least you're doing it. There's so many people that are talking about investing and buying houses and all, and they never take that first step and take that first plunge. But at least you were out there doing it and making the purchases and looking at properties.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Quiet crowd.
Other
I
topics?
think
Oh,
yeah.
James?
Go ahead, James.
No, I was gonna say if somebody had other topics, I was thinking, and I can't remember if we've done this already or not, but in terms of vetting a contractor at a distance, have we talked about that before, or that might be a subject we can bring up as a topic in the future?
Yeah, I think we touched on it a little bit, but yeah, it certainly could go in depth. It certainly is harder to vet from long distance. Like one of the first contractors that we met with showed up drunk, but we, not from afar, we wouldn't have smelled the alcohol on his breath, right? Because we're far away. So you definitely have to vet a little bit tougher, and maybe referrals come into play where people, or I don't know if Ernie's still on here, but up in Charlotte, obviously if we needed somebody up there, then we can kind of already right. We can
You can hear you now.
He can talk, he's all
No.
that.
I only had to log off and re-log back on again.
There you go. So obviously, like a lot of referrals and stuff from long distance, or obviously in Maryland, we have connections up there from you guys. But
Yeah, we always try to find some place that we have an affinity for, whether it's a boots on the ground or a group of people we know, or relatives, people, people that actually can do be hands-on for us. And if worst comes to worst, then we'll absolutely drive out there or fly out there to make sure that the project's going smoothly.
Awesome.
And like I was saying before, that doing a little bit of extra for people. We're not there to bring lunches to them, or see if they need any help, or what we can do on our end. So we send out gift cards, talk to them, ask them if they need anything, get to know their family a little bit, make it a little more intimate, so that when we fly out there, take them out to a nice restaurant, different things like that'll go, longest, it'll go far for them. And he's had situations where he wanted to obtain a house and he didn't have the funds for it, so we purchased the house for him, and then he was making payments to us. So just help find out what people needs or wants, or help them out with their goals.
Do you ever send thank yous to people like the person in the code office that tried to help you out there? Just little cards or things like that, so that they remember you the next time?
Yeah, cards are usually Starbucks kind of goes a long way with folks. So even a little $10. I swear we've sent like $10 gift cards to people, and you would think they won the lottery. I mean, that's just a little Starbucks gift card just means the world to some people. I guess it's their little jump start in the morning.
And a lot of times we could get the gift cards with points built up from the credit cards. What is it? The Amex cards or whatever. You get points built up, and then you can just purchase like Amazon cards or the Starbucks or Panera, and then give them out. So sometimes it's free things you get, and then you just pay them forward to people, and it does go a long way.
So yes, ma'am, we do.
And we've even, like, we don't have our Airbnb anymore, but when we had Airbnb, or a couple of them, we would give people like a free weekend or a free week there to go with their kids and enjoy themselves.
That's nice. That was really nice.
Try to be a little creative.
Fred was asking where you could actually see the other previous Zoom calls. So Fred, I don't know which one you're referring to, multifamily or single family. So I put them both actually in the chat. And then the videos, our VA usually gets them done by Wednesday afternoon, early Thursday. So usually by Thursday evening, they're all posted, the newest ones.
And next week, along those lines, we actually have another contractor that worked with us in Baltimore, because we don't want to take Javier away from his work. So anyway, he's too busy to be on. So we have Miguel's going to come on and kind of talk about things from a contractor's perspective, because as investors, we always, we want the lowest price, the most work you can get out of them, just sometimes we're unrealistic about, hey, we paid X amount of dollars last year, not saying, not knowing that plywood went up 20%, or, now they can't get this particular equipment. So sometimes investors are unrealistic, or just wanting too much stuff from the contractor. So we're going to bring a contractor on, and he's gonna talk about things from his perspective. We'll probably just do a question and answer with him. I think he's like, I don't think he'll do a presentation or whatever. We'll just probably have a kind of open question and answer with him, and we'll start it off. But basically, how he does the scope of work, how he's been burned, things that investors can do better that would help him do better, just things like that. So kind of think of some questions you might want to bring to a contractor that will help you in your endeavors. All right, I guess everybody's still full from turkey, and I guess we'll call it a night if there's no other questions or anything. It can be related to anything else.
Yeah, any type of real estate or something you're working on, something you need help with, scenario you're going through.
And I would just think about, we're almost to December, a couple days away. And a lot of people are either looking to buy or sell houses and get out of, by the end of the year. So we're kind of at that 30-day mark where you can close. So just kind of think about getting some blind offers out there if you're looking to buy a house, and if you're looking to sell, kind of put it out there, because just a couple years ago we just tossed the house out there, and was like, nobody's ever going to buy this. Guy had to buy a house and had to close by the 31st, and we closed on the 29th, and just kind of got rid of something that was a thorn in our side. So kind of think about that for the last
Yeah,
month of the year.
I would iterate that. I mean, you get a lot of times people that you have sent letters to throughout the year. It's time to go back and follow up, because a lot of them, it's the end of the year. A lot of times you do more deals in November, December than any other time, frankly.
Yep.
And a lot of banks, this is a time where they really want to get the REOs off of their books, because then they don't have to carry the bad debt into the new year. So it's really a good time to start. If you can break yourself away from Christmas and other kind of holiday stuff, it's a great time to get deals.
And that's a good thought with that. Just a lot of times people start falling off, like they're very strategic throughout the year with, putting in bids or putting in offers. But then, once we get past Thanksgiving, a lot of people fall off. And so not only do you have the deals coming to you, but you have, probably 50% of the people are now out doing Christmas stuff or taking vacations or, that kind of stuff. So then there's more opportunity and better opportunity for you to get some of those deals. They want them off the books, and not half the people are paying attention. So good point.
Yeah, things have been coming in my inbox with reduced, price reduction. So people are getting more desperate.
And then you start off the year with some houses and get running to the races. All right, guys, we'll call it a night. Check out our YouTube channels for the replay. And go to Virtual REI Academy. There's some freebies on there. And we will see everybody next week with Miguel.
And Fred, I
Bye,
saw,
nice job.
Thank you.
Fred, I saw you just subscribe to the YouTube channel, so thank you very much for doing that. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
night.